Hello yogis, Liz Crosby here with a yoga tutorial, and we'll be going over the variations of headstand today to strengthen your Jalandhara Bandha connection, the union between throat chakra and brow chakra. These are the sattvic gunas, sound and light, which allow us to process our karmic debris with multidimensional analysis. Really take your time because it has been a long time since we utilized our head and our neck as the primary foundational points. And this is very important, right? Allah, arm, leg, arm, head. So we do want to start navigating into these spaces, but very slowly and gently. As when the muscles around the cervical spine get exhausted, then the energy goes straight into the vertebral column and can cause the intervertebral discs to slightly compress. So really, really crucial. And also be sure to warm up your core before you begin and close with shoulder stand to counterbalance. But these different variations will strengthen different parts of the cervical spine, different muscles surrounding. And again, it will enhance the connection so that you can begin to utilize the inner technology and actually process karmic debris in real time as you're expanding consciousness. This is why so often a lot of sequences from India begin with a really long headstand. So let's begin. So for our first variation of headstand, we're going to do backs of the hands to the floor, arms straight. So the tendency is to let those shoulders hunch, draw them together and down the back, and actually press through the back of your hand. All right, visualize those spiraling vortexual energies flowing through the arm. And let's do it. Eventually you can put all of these together, but we'll focus on going up into each one individually initially to start so that you can get familiar with this inner space, with this territory. Also, initially feel free to use a wall behind you so that you can eliminate the possibility of a tuck and roll and gain some confidence in holding steady that line. So here we go. Very crown of the head comes to the mat, tuck the chin so that you're lengthening the back of the cervical spine. Again, we went over this in the traditional headstand tutorial, so feel free to go back and check that one. So very crown of the head comes to the mat. Walk your feet in. Rise the hips up as high as you possibly can. You can always draw one heel in towards your seat, followed by the other. Roll those hips up to stack, and then extend the legs up. Breathe. Again, notice the slightly different muscle engagements as compared to the Shirshasana traditional headstand. Building that energetic highway straight through crown, Sahasrara, thousand petal lotus. Maybe try straight legs on your way back down, butt back as feet come forward. And then gently release. Whew, you can take a moment in child's pose. So this next variation of headstand, I like to call it the Genie because it reminds me of I Dream of Genie, growing up watching that show as a little kid, right? So you'll bring your hands together and press down basically through your forearms. That's it. That is your foundation right there. Again, it will accentuate different muscle engagements, which will help you to conduct more energy through Jalandhara Bandha. So notice, pay attention to the slightly different muscle engagements that work to stabilize this unique shape. You are the Genie. Very crown comes to the mat. Tuck your toes, walk your feet in. And again, you can draw one heel up towards your seat, followed by the other, but maybe start to explore, maybe bringing both legs up at the same time. And hold. So fun. Again, this is a very physical lesson, integration of giving and receiving energy, finding that balance. which muscles to engage, which muscles to release, to find your most efficient use of energy, to hold the space. And then when you're ready, gently release it back down. Butt comes back, feet come forward. Can you work that pike? It's okay if the knees bend. And then gently release. Take a child's pose. My smile might be getting progressively bigger because inversions are natural mood elevators, and of course, headstand is no exception. So definitely, this will be a fun one to do if you're ever in a bad mood or you need to change your mood, change your algorithm, and raise your vibration, just get upside down. All right, so for this next one, we're going to do basically the forearm balance arms. So here. And this is really good training for forearm balance. So if you're having difficulty with forearm balance, but your headstand is strong, this is a good one for you to work. And then you can start to think about delegating more weight, distributing more weight through the forearms. And eventually, you can actually even press up into a forearm balance. So again, you can start out with the forearm balance arms, Pincha Mayurasana, feathered peacock. And just place the crown directly in the center of that square that your forearms create. Remember, you can wrap the elbows a little bit tighter, and then when they slide out, it will make a perfect square. The skin on the forearm is a little bit loose. So, very crown of the head comes to the mat. Tuck the toes, walk the feet in. Again, can you challenge yourself? See if you can. Pike it up. If you need to, again, draw heel towards seat. Bending in the knee. You can just find that balance. Then maybe if it's a part of your practice and you want to try it, press down through the forearms. See if you can float the head up into your forearm balance. Just for fun, just for fun. If it brings you joy, feel free to skip it if it doesn't bring you joy. And then when you're complete with that, slowly lower back down. Tuck the chin, crown to ground. Back into the variation of headstand. Butt comes back, feet come forward. Again, work that counterbalance like a Libra scale. And gently release, child's pose. By now we've gone through 3 variations, so be honest with yourself. If your neck muscles are tired, you can save these next 3 variations for another time. But the next variation will bring the hands to the shoulder blades. So just the crown and the elbows are connecting. This one's really fun, and again, it's just like a puzzle, so have fun with building the puzzle. So again, beginning in the formation, very crown to ground. As always, stay away from that brow. You want to go right on top. Elbows come to mat. Palms press into the shoulders. Very crown to ground. Tuck the toes. Lift the hips up. Maybe pike it up. You can take your time. It's kind of like you're building a house. You're becoming your own architect, but also you're partaking in the build as well. You're your own contractor. Super fun. When you're complete, butt comes back as feet come forward. Gently release. Child's pose it out. This next one is very tricky. So we'll bring the arms out wide. And we're not used to side balancing. We're used to forward and back balancing with headstands. So this one is most challenging for most yoga practitioners beginning to excavate the variations of headstand. I like to do more of an obtuse angle than a straight line because the straight line is so challenging. So take your time and slowly ease from forward and back balancing to side balancing. Here we go. So here we have the hands out wide. And I like to lift up on the fingertips for a little bit of extra balance. And then crown comes to ground. So you can flatten through the palms if you prefer. I like tented fingertips. Float those legs up. And essentially, in all of these postures too, you are utilizing your legs as a weight system to build intelligent central core strength. Notice how there's forward and back and side to side balancing involved in this headstand. Definitely more challenging. If you want to, you can actually start to lift up onto less fingertips, maybe 2, 3. Maybe to 2. Maybe to 1. Gently release, butt comes back as feet come forward. And lower it down. Child's pose. And the final headstand we'll go over today is what everybody wants to start with, which is actually more challenging than traditional, is tripod headstand. Because when you do a tripod headstand, it's just your head and your hands. When you go traditional, the whole forearm and the crown are also connected in one cohesive unit. So when you go tripod, there's no longer that connection. But, and I'm saving it for last for this reason, tripod headstand is a wonderful place to work on building intelligent central core strength so that you can eventually press and lower into arm balances. So I'm going to give you a quick demo on that. And that's why I saved it for last. This is our special bonus round of headstand. And then we'll see if we can put them all together at the end. One thing that happens with headstand is people will let the elbows splay out wide, wrap them in. So it's almost as though you're trying to draw an isosceles triangle with if you were to elongate that line segment that's made from each forearm. So again, instead of out wide like this, wrap them in. Another thing too is generally people start with an acute angle here. Right? We are becoming geometry, right? G, I'm a tree, right? We're all energetic trees working on our tree of life. So geometry is important with this exploration. You want an actual 90-degree angle. Of course, that's going to change a little bit as you lower and lift up into arm balances. As you lift up into the arm balance, it might come more into an obtuse angle, but for the actual tripod headstand, 90, right angle. So like the corner of a square. Here we go. Taking it up into tripod headstand first. And from tripod headstand, it's okay if you aren't lowering all the way down. Work as low as you can go. Work those knees high up and in towards the armpits. And then press it up and lift it up. Focus more on pressing through the shins, staying strong in the arms, and then the head will naturally come up. Don't focus on pulling the head up off of the ground. Now, tucking the chin, crown back down to ground. Nice and slow. Press it up, lift it up, back into your tripod headstand. And of course, you can start to think about other arm balances, maybe bunching the knees in towards your chest. Twist to the right. Lower your left thigh onto your right tricep. Then you have a side curl. Back up into your tripod. lower. And again, you may not actually make contact. You might stop here. Maybe you come all the way down. Lower it down. Maybe you don't lift up into the crow today. That's okay. Small victories. Then slowly lower it back down, back up again. And of course, there's more where that came from, but that's enough to get the wheels spinning. Pun intended. Slowly lower, butt back, feet forward. Balasana, child's pose, and release. Once you get each of these headstands down individually, then maybe begin transitioning between these various headstands. And it's so true, you cannot stand on your head in enough ways to connect to source. So there's always so much fun to be had with this exploration. As always, tune in, listen to your neck, and have fun, but honor your body and where it is today. So if you've done all 6 headstands and this is your first time even trying these headstands, maybe just watch this first one and then come back to it once you've built up a little bit more strength and resilience in the neck, then maybe attempt. But hopefully we'll get through them all. So I'm going to begin from the traditional headstand. Slowly release the interlace. And I'm going to extend one arm out at a time. Eventually you might be able to do both at the same time, but initially for starters, one arm extends out. Again, keeping that core strong, Jalandhara Bandha strong. Now press down to the back of that hand. Shift weight into hand. That's palm facing up and crown to release and extend. Right arm out. So here we are in that first variation that we explored. Nice. Now from here, one forearm comes forward and in front of your face. Then shift weight to the side of the arm that you're not moving and then adjust. Now press down through the forearm. Opposite forearm comes to join it. Nice work. In the Genie. Now from here, we'll slide our hands into the forearm balance variation. So one arm slides alongside the head, followed by the other. Again, see maybe if you can float it up, press down through the forearms, lift the head up into your Pincha Mayurasana. Just for fun, only if it sparks joy. Then slowly lower, tuck the chin, crown back to ground. From here, again, you can bring the hands to the shoulders. So just the head and the elbows are now the foundation. Amazing. And then releasing that. Hands come out to the sides. Again, I like those tented hands. Personal preference. Maybe start to lift up onto those fingertips. Less fingertips. One fingertip. Well done. All right, last but not least, the bonus tripod headstand. Maybe try both at the same time. Both hands in the tripod variation. Again, 90s. Wrap those elbows in, lift the shoulders up, redirect the current. Now slowly lower, heels towards your bum. Knees come high up and in. Press the shins into the upper arms. Float the head up naturally as you engage in the arm muscles. Nice. And now slowly lower. Get so low you can practically kiss your yoga mat. Tuck chin, crown to ground. Press the shins into the upper arms. Float the legs back up again into your tripod. Lower it down. Child's pose to release. And lastly, just a quick shoulder stand to seal the deal. The headstand is the king of asana, and the shoulder stand is the queen of asana. as headstand enhances the masculine aspect, shoulder stand enhances the feminine aspect of Vishuddha, throat chakra. So closing it up, here's our counterbalance posture. Lie down flat on your back, extend the legs straight up, wrap the elbows in towards your side bodies, keep the gaze directly up so that you're protecting your cervical spine. And now pressing down to the upper arms, engage your core, sweep the legs up and overhead for your shoulder stand. Hands can walk down the back, press chest towards chin, breathe into the back of the neck. And hang out here as long as you need to find balance. All those muscles did work for us, and even though we were engaging the muscles the whole time and making sure that we weren't overexerting our muscles to the point of exhaustion, there may still be even a little tiny bit of compression, so decompressing the cervical spine. You can lower the feet down into Halasana plow pose. Interlace, press palms together. Press towards chin. Breathe into the back of the neck. Maybe bend the knees around the ears for your squeeze pose. And then gently release, roll the spine back down. To counterbalance the shoulder stand, counterbalance of a counterbalance, hands can slide underneath your seat, extend the legs out, press down to your forearms, lift your chest up, and let the head hang back. Opening up the front of the throat, which gets slightly compressed during the shoulder stand. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I will come back with more tutorials as we continue to progress, so continue to practice these inversions and grow the strength around your cervical spine. And then we'll incorporate some back bends, right? Back bend for throat chakra, not just fish, but I'm talking chest stand, chin balance, and side bends. So eventually we can move into what's called the fallen angel. And what's really cool too is eventually you can start connecting these quadrants, right? You can move from chin balance to fallen angel to shoulder stand. So there's all sorts of things. Of course, please stay tuned. And if you have any requests, be sure to let me know. I'm doing the very best that I can with the equipment that I have, while at the same time training like an Olympic athlete for Kundalini conductivity. So I'll keep putting out what I can with the equipment that I have. And if I save up enough money, I'll get some better equipment. So hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Namaste.